Hello, everybody. This is another episode of Chef to Chef Live, and it's presented by Club and Resort Chef Association. And this week's sponsor is Club Procure. And we would like to invite everybody to join our website for the Club and Resort Chef Association. And the website is association.clubandresortchef.com. So we are privileged to have Philly chefs here today, and a good handful of them. And chefs, thanks for joining me. I'm going to introduce everybody that's here. We have Jerry Schreck from Merion Country Club. We have Danny Profita from Merion Cricket Club. We have Chef Fritz Gitschner from Philadelphia Country Club. Chef Tim Rios from Saucon Valley. Chef John Wagner from Sunnybrook Golf Club, and David Daddezio from Vicmead Hunt Club. Chefs, thanks for joining me today. We're going to get into some questions here and toss it around, and everybody can jump in as they see fit. And one thing I'd like to know is we've all been around the pandemic for several months now, and we've all adapted and have done things that have helped us a la carte wise expedite things out of the kitchen. We all know about pools being busy and a limited capacity. What I'd like to know from each of you is what is here to stay? There's a lot of things we're doing with to-goes and seating reservations and pool reservations and things like that. What is here to stay? What's gonna be here next year at this time as the pandemic hopefully subsides? Tim Rios, you want to start us out with that?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks again for asking me to be here since I'm kind of the new guy in town. But I think one of the new things that's here to stay in town is the smaller menus. I think, in the past we've all had these big menus and we're like, all right, why are we doing this anyway? But it was something that the club traditionally had. And I think, we've cut, since we have like 5 different outlets, we've cut them all down, and we're just trying to do simple, sexy, fresh, good food. And I think making smaller menus helped us do that.
Does a smaller menu include a smaller staff overall? I think a lot of people are struggling to bring back people, and is it a smaller staff as well, Tim?
Yeah, we're down probably 30% of our team right now, just because we haven't been able to find the team that we want. So it's helped us execute that a little bit better. But when you're doing 140, 150 covers, you still need a few extra people.
Chef Profita, what's here to stay? What are we going to see next year at this time that came out of this pandemic?
Well, we were discussing on committee levels just the reservation policy and how it really helps define service and the food execution. So we're a very high volume covers club as well. And, when you have reservations at 6 o'clock and then they cocktail till 6:30 and then decide to sit at 7:30, there's nothing you can combat their members. You want them to enjoy their time, but, it gets to be hairy. So when people understand that they have to make a reservation, stick to it, they have a certain amount of time to dine, it really allows the waitstaff to perform the way they should, and allows the kitchen to plan for it and, ultimately deliver a great product. So, we were talking about that on committee levels to try and get to a reservation only policy, or as close to as we could, with still having certain dining rooms being a walk-in status. Our cricket bar and our courtside cafe, you'd still have the opportunity for a drop-in dine. But to control those other dining rooms, it'd be great to see the reservation system carry over to next year.
Yeah, and that avoids that whole big crush on a kitchen, right? Everybody at the bar, and then they all sit down together, and next thing you know, you got 100 people trying to eat at the same time. So hopefully it works. Chef Gitschner, what do you propose to see next year coming out of the pandemic that's going to stay?
Well, what the previous 2 chefs said, I'm somewhat want to second that, because members now making reservations really has somewhat not only give them a better dining experience, but also help the kitchen to make sure that quality food is prepared in a timely fashion, and you're not just being slammed and have 100 covers in 20 minutes. So hopefully, and I'm saying hopefully, that's going to continue. But I'm somewhat more smaller menus with specials. We still continue with our culinary promotions like we're doing Alaskan Seafood Week, or we're doing right now Culinary Tour de France. We did it on a smaller scale because before it was action stations and everything else, and with the coronavirus now that is all eliminated, so we are running specials, and that is very much appreciated by members. So I think in a club, the more often you change the menus, I think the more you keep it interesting for the membership to come to the club and utilize the club more frequently than having a standard menu and keep that for months and months. So and we will continue that. But yeah, I think if something comes out of that, what would help us as chefs would be definitely the reservations, and hopefully members understand. But some of the members now seeing that there's a much more pleasant dining experience for them. If you have reservations, there's more attention paid, you know, there's not a wait on product or food. So it is a much more pleasant experience.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are hoping it's there to stay. Chef Schreck, what about in your camp?
You know, it's unbelievable listening to the previous chefs. It's exactly where I am as far as reservations. We went to an online reservation through our 4Ts app, so they can make reservations, but they're blocked out of certain half-hour periods. And it has absolutely changed the entire experience of dining dinner-wise. The ticket times are quicker. The food is more consistent. The service is more consistent. The members and guests are happier. They're being taken care of like they've never been taken care of before. So hopefully so we're taking reservations between 5:30 and 8 o'clock at night when they were all jammed up within a 60 to 90 minute period. And it has drastically changed everything. There are a few members hemming and hawing about it, but I think that's here to stay, and I've been an advocate of that in every single food and beverage meeting, that we need to keep that going. That's one thing. And then I find that the staffing opportunities are a lot better now, and I think you mentioned that in your note to us, that you know, I'm hiring out of the city, you know, prep cooks who are willing to work utility and do a little prep for us, when before we were really struggling in the Philadelphia suburbs to find you know, quality utility people that'll stay. So those are some of the things I hope they stay as far as that staffing issue. But a lot of Philadelphia restaurants closed. A lot of people lost their jobs or were laid off. So we're taking advantage of that, and I'm sure some of you listening are experiencing the same thing.
Thanks, Chef. I'm sorry, I have a little background music here, or background noise. Chef Wagner, and Jerry, to your point, real quick before I shift to Chef Wagner, Tim Rios is looking for some staff. Where were you getting staff from, or where were you sourcing it?
Well, just job postings on our ADP, you know, through Indeed. We're getting some decent responses, and by word of mouth, mostly by word of mouth. So the people that I've, you know, and that's, I think going forward, that's going to be the, you find quality people that you've hired and are working out well, and referring some of their friends and colleagues from past positions. That's where we're getting them.
Yeah, I think Tim agreed with that one. Chef Wagner, sorry. Getting back to you about things that have changed, is it very similar to you? The reservations are helpful and limited menus and anything else?
You know, just beating a dead horse, but everybody always said we can't do reservations. They all just come in, they all just sit down. Now we have to do it. The dining room's forced to do it. We have 15-minute time slots. We only take, you know, so many, and we have someone who's not really a country club person doing the reservations. So in their own way, they're saying, "Nah, can't do 6:15. Got to be 6:45." And you know, I cringe a little bit when I hear them do it, but it works. You know, our a la carte is up. Obviously, we're not doing any banquets, but The other night, on a Sunday night, we did 100 covers, which is a great Sunday night when we're not having a grill out because we can't do the buffets and stuff. But it was myself and 2 line cooks. It was a culinary student, a line cook, and me. And we did 100 covers. It couldn't have gone better. It was perfectly smooth. We never had more than like 4 or maybe 5 tickets hanging. You're not like, oh my God, we just got murdered. We're leaving with our tail between our legs. It's like, wow, we really just kicked ass. We just fed 100 people in an hour and a half. And not with like 2 rookies, a good line cook and a culinary student working cold side. And, everybody had time to do their dishes, put everything out. Everything looked nice. We weren't rushing anything. It was a nice, steady, busy, for the entire dinner service. And I really hope it sticks. I really hope that whenever things do get back to normal, that it doesn't get pushed to the wayside. You're going to have, I would hope that 80% of the members stick with it. You're always going to have the members that are still doing it. Just come in. I want to sit down. I want to eat, this or that. They're not following a reservation system. But, if most of them do, it's just going to make our lives so much easier. You can do it with less people, and you're going to be serving a higher quality product.
Yeah, it is a common theme, and I hope it does stay for everybody. But Chef Daddezio, you are at a hunt club. Do you guys have a course there?
Yeah, we have 2 separate campuses. Our golf course is 3 miles from the hunt club clubhouse. Most of the country club stuff is at the hunt club with rackets, indoor, outdoor rackets, equestrian, those kinds of things.
And do they normally congregate at the hunt club for dinner, or is it 2 separate operations for you?
It's 2 separate operations. We're 6 days a week at the golf course for lunch and Friday night dinner over there. It's a small bistro style kitchen, like 35 seats. But it's out on a terrace and we can spread it out. So we haven't really lost that. It sells out every Friday night. At the hunt club for dinner service, we're doing Tuesday and Thursday nights. Traditionally, that would be a buffet for us. And that's the biggest change that I think is probably going to stay away, is that it's going to be a lot more plated service all the time. I don't see us going back to buffets anytime soon. And that really impacts the overall experience that they've had in the past.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, as far as things that are here to stay are buffets. And I know a lot of people are doing buffets where they're staffing them and the staff is serving, but I think a plated is an easier solution for everybody there. I'd like to switch gears and talk about food sourcing. We all had struggles procuring food, whether it's seafood or meat during the pandemic. Chef Rios, we'll circle back to you. Has things settled down? Has the market settled down for you in Philadelphia? And are you having issues getting something, or is it expensive, or what are some issues?
Well, being on we're like 40 minutes away from Philadelphia, and I just met with Tom Macrina yesterday, who's the corporate chef from US Foods, and just kind of going over some of those things. And I mean, they're still having some issues too of, hey, they can't send something if they don't get it, or the shipment's late, or some of those things. Because I think everybody's still trying to play catch up, and I think you got to stay ahead a week or so and really pay attention to those things and make sure you have your staple items. And at a club, it's do you have your fries? Do you have your chicken fingers? Do you have your burgers? Do you have your hot dogs, your bacon? Those kind of things that you can put some away in case, it's supposed to come in on Thursday, but it doesn't come in. So I think a lot of us need to, we're all looking ahead a lot, to go containers, latex, all the things we're trying to, focus on that necessarily we wouldn't have focused on. I think that the procurement side of it, I think we just have to make sure our menus are set before we, to make sure we can get the food. So I think it's just planning.
Chef Schreck, do you feel the need to stockpile some products, or just do some damage control when you're bringing in food nowadays?
The only thing I see us stockpiling, as Tim just mentioned, were the gloves. We're looking for the black gloves for the front of the house, and just gloves and paper products and sanitizers for all around. So those are the types of things that we were stockpiling. I listened to Chef Fritz last year, and I did exactly what he said, getting more into the ordering and the purchasing part of the job than I ever did before, and as well as staffing. So I haven't really had any problem with procuring any kind of food, dealing with Cisco and some of the other purveyors that we use. But, so no stockpiling of food, actually trying to keep a low inventory because we have the ability to do that without parties and banquets. Our walk-ins, and I think I'm speaking for all of you, are a little bit more organized than they ever were before, because sometimes the party stuff can get crazy with prep food or just orders coming in. So stockpiling of gloves and PPE are the things that are the issue right now. Spent more on paper and plastic this year than in the last decade. So it's been pretty crazy. And then takeout containers and things like that. Fortunately, we're not putting as much stuff in plastics now that Pennsylvania or our area went green on June 5th. Where did we go green on June 30th? Sorry. And so we're doing less curbside. Actually, we're not doing curbside. We're just doing our regular takeout where the members can actually come up to a certain area and pick up their bag. So in answer to your question, stockpiling of those paper products and PPE, and but the food sourcing has been okay. But I think we're paying a little bit more this year for everything. So therefore, food costs percentages, I think, are going up. But it's hard when things are so roller coaster to really analyze that.
Jeff Profita, we lost you for a minute, but we're talking about sourcing food. Does anybody else want to chime in on it? Does anybody having issues or feel the need to stock their coolers with anything?
We haven't had a need to pile away, squirrel stuff away. We went through a little bit of a beef price issue there for a minute. Seemed to settle out easily. And then like Chef Schreck said, the paper and plastic products are through the roof. And when we kind of redid our budget for this year, when this thing set out and made our cuts, the kitchen supply line was one that I not only didn't cut down on, but I added to. I said, I don't know how long this is going to go and how much stuff we're going to have to buy that we don't normally use, to-go containers, plastic silverware, what it be. So we kind of stocked up that line a little bit. But our supply chain has been very well. We buy a lot of stuff, so we've been able to keep up on things. A couple of times I had to borrow some plates from Merion Golf Club. They were kind enough to send them over. But other than that, we've been pretty good on the purchasing end. Prices, certain things work out for us. Lobster's been real good this year. So we've been using a good bit of that. But we've been able to get our hands on what we needed to.
So nothing crazy?
No, nothing crazy. Okay.
Chef Wagner, let's talk about that switch over, and other chefs can chime in. That switch over from plastic to more of a biodegradable. Is that correct, Jerry? Is that what they're looking for, a biodegradable product?
Yeah, Danny and I are using what out of that product? It's bamboo.
Pressed palm leaf.
Oh.
Yeah, palm leaf for some of our satellite dining, and I was using a tri-pack product, a real kind of heavy duty for takeout, so the containers weren't cracking open, and so that's the last thing on that curbside when you get the phone call after somebody's picked up food. But that worked out well. But yeah, fortunately, we're not doing as much takeout as we were back in May and early June. But
were your purveyors geared up for this? Were they prepared for it? In other words, was the transition pretty seamless going to paper? Anybody want to answer that?
No, I think they were scrambling.
Yeah, I've had shortages on the paper goods supplies, and that's where I was stockpiling, just buying ahead and keeping ahead on that seemed like a necessary, specifically all the sanitizer stuff. I don't know how many of you have become the pandemic specialists in your places, but apparently I am where I'm at. So, buying all those things, teaching people about the difference between disinfectant and sanitizer, and keeping all those things available for all departments.
Chef Gitschner, is everybody in your kitchen wearing masks?
Everybody in the kitchen wears masks. We created a playbook where we are laid it already out very early. In terms also, I have two teams. I have an A team and a B team. So it means morning and night. You're not crossing over. So if you have a case in one of the shifts, it doesn't wipe out your whole kitchen. And then there is into the dinner service.
Chef Wagner, everybody in your kitchen wearing masks?
Yeah, everybody on the property is wearing masks. People that have, closed door offices and stuff like that, they're just wearing them when they come out. The members, they need to wear them. There's been some resistance from certain members. They come in and they're just like, I don't have a mask and blah, blah, blah. And so now we've had to just, instead of fighting it, we've provided masks if they don't have them. So yeah, everybody's wearing masks. Our whole sanitation regiment has, gone up. I feel like we're the Home Depot where it says we're cleaning the bathrooms every hour, wiping everything down, doing all the high touch areas, the phones and stuff like that. And not everybody, on the entire staff really gets it. It's important. We're logging it. We're writing everything down. And they're like, oh, I did it. It's like, you got to put it on paper. Someone asks, we need to be able to show them that, yes, we're doing this every day, every 2 hours or every 1 hour. So, it's, most people are completely on board. Most of the members get it. Many don't like it, and that's fine. I'm sure it's not fun to wear a mask in a hot kitchen all day, but, if it's what we got to do to, be safe and keep people happy and keep working, then that's what we got to do.
Is there anybody on this call that the members aren't required to wear masks when they come in? No, pretty much everybody?
Yeah, for our dining.
We have them at the hostess stand as well.
Chef Daddezio, is that true?
Yeah, for our dining services, they have to have masks on until they reach the table. On the golf course, they're not required to wear them. They have to have them on their person and maintain distancing. And the tennis courts and all that, they're still not sharing balls. They have to bring their own tennis balls as part of it. So it's a little bit odd, and it's impossible as a employee to micromanage all those different things. But we do have a host greeter that kind of controls that flow and gives the reminders and hands out masks if needed, but we try not to do that.
I'm going to move around the meeting real quick with another topic, and it has to do with budgets. We're all going to fall short on our budgets. To Chef Schreck's point, that we're just losing banquet revenue, and I just want to find out about the pulse and the attitude of each one of your boards. As far as the understanding of the shortfalls and maybe the positive side of it as well, being that a la cartes for most people are up. Chef Wagner, let me start with you. Have you had conversations with your board or management lately about just where the budget is, and is everybody understanding of it?
100%. I just got my food. So I finished up with the pandemic pretty good because inventory was down. We streamlined the takeout menu. So there really wasn't a lot of waste. Now we're back to regular a la carte. It kind of shows how much we need the banquets to keep our food costs down. I'm usually supposed to run a 37.5. I ran a 50 or 49 or something last month. And, I didn't think it was out of line. I went to my GM. I called him, and he was like, it's cool, dude. Don't worry about it. He doesn't care. The board doesn't care. They understand. I really think most of them, and I hope everybody's situation is the same, they're just so happy to be out of their house at the club dining that, they're not. I think they have bigger fish to fry right now than to worry about a few percentage points on food cost. They're worried about the next shutdown, or supplies, or members using their minimums and stuff like that. So I haven't had any pushback or resistance at all for a higher food cost.
Chef Schreck, please, if you want to touch base on your budgeting process.
But like I said yesterday, if we continue, we had 9 weddings in the fall, and only 2 of them are hanging on from November. Most of them are, I think all of them have moved to 2021. So that being said, our budget for the year is pretty much shot from what it looked like when we rolled it out. But as I said to my general manager yesterday, I don't see a significant change in the way our P&Ls are going to look. We see a little bit of an increase in a la carte dining. I think that's going to continue because they feel comfortable coming to the club more so than a public restaurant. So, that's what I'm seeing from a budgeting standpoint. And I think our food costs will come down a little bit because of the amount of volume. But without banquet and party, there's no salvaging 2020.
Yeah, I think as long as the board is understanding of that, and I'm sure you made a lot of chefs feel better by what you said about having to explain it all the time. So, Chef Profita, how about you? Everybody okay and level-headed as far as where the budgets are headed this year?
Sure. The board is very understanding of what's going on. And again, just like everyone else, they're just really happy to be here. Fortunately, we haven't had too much of a rise in our food costs. It's inside 3.5% more than we typically do. And it was, I believe it was May, we came in on budget miraculously. But that banquet business is killer. But our a la carte business is strong, rivaling numbers of last year, which was our best financial food and beverage year ever. So coming into this year after last year is kind of a bummer. But everyone's in the same boat. We went through line by line the budget when this first started in March and kind of cut out a little bit of our fluff. We had to make some staffing decisions. But on my end, that's really kind of where it ended. I worked with my purchaser on the cost of goods and making sure we keep a good margin. We watched our pricing, kept our pricing strong on takeout, to kind of absorb some of that product, plastics and papers that we didn't use so much before. But we've been keeping an eye on it, and we've been staying somewhat in line. But it's not something. New menus is more important than food costs right now. Changing the menus is more important than food costs right now, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, I think so. I think that model of a smaller menu changing more frequently, I think that's a good recipe for a lot of success there. Chef Daddezio, board's pretty cool, management's pretty cool. Obviously, nobody's really hitting budgets, but no real fallout from it.
No, and I think, it's all about the communication from the outset. I've made sure that I've talked about just the member value. I think that, what the board level is really looking for is membership engagement and keeping those memberships and not having people drop. So as long as we're providing a service and a value and giving value to their membership, which ultimately food and beverage was the only thing doing that throughout most of the pandemic, without any of the other sports and availabilities to access other buildings. So that really put us in a position where we could, be the value provider for their membership and engaged membership on that level. So ultimately, it's been very good for us from a member relationship standpoint and how we addressed it through the pandemic.
It's pretty refreshing. It's good to hear that nobody's really catching too much flack about it. Chef Wagner, what's on your menu that you can't take off? What's on your menu that you either inherited or put on yourself that they would look at you and say, Chef, where is this?
The tuna martini. That's a dish. You go to dinner at Bluefin Tuna around here. It's one of the top sushi restaurants. They have a tuna sundae. The previous chef, who's now the GM, mimicked it. It's on the menu. It's never going away. I've gone to I've taken the same exact ingredients and created, you know, a tuna poke bowl, stuff, avocado, pistachios, tuna, ponzu, spicy mayo, micros. It's just in a different container. They don't want it. It's got to be in the chilled martini glass. My lunch menu, it's these dishes that have been around for 30 or 40 years. There's a dish called a Tilly from some woman who created it 30 years ago. Still on the menu. It's never going anywhere. We tried to change it a couple times, and the old folks home got very upset with us, so we're just going to leave those things on there. But the tuna martinis, and it's a great dish. It's good. But, you know, it's one of those things. I'd love to do something different, but it's got to stay.
Don't mess with it.
Nope.
Chef Schreck, you have a lot of outlets there and several different restaurants and everything, but maybe just name a dish that Merion's known for.
Well, I have to thank Chef Daddezio for his chicken piccata that he brought to Merion in 2005. That is, it's absolutely ridiculous amount of sales, and they talk about it like it's this light, fluffy thing, and they're eating it in the summer, and it's got cream, it's got butter, and just sales are through the roof, and so thanks a lot, David, and.
Sorry.
But that's okay. David was the sous chef here for about 7 or 8 years and brought a lot of good things, and that's one of them. I guess chicken salad and oysters is a lunch item that, you know, that's been around for years. It's kind of a Philadelphia tradition. So those are 2 items.
Chef Profita?
Same kind of thing. You know, we have this Brussels sprout salad on. It might be inside at 25 years that it's been on, not that long. But the August that I took over as chef, the Brussels sprouts went to like $75 a case. So I said, well, we got to change the menu. We take the Brussels sprouts off. And I'd walk down the dining room and everyone would pull me aside and say, where are they? You got to put them back. So this Brussels sprouts salad with the bacon vinaigrette's been on there forever. Seems to play well. But then, you know, chicken salad and fried oysters, snapper soup, those are always on there. But we always leave ourselves open to make the items that a crab louis, a shrimp louis that they ask for a lot. That isn't on the menu, but we kind of keep it in our back pocket. So we're trying to take the opportunity now to kind of thin that herd as well and come out with some new offerings. We've changed over the last 2 years. We started to change the sets on the crab cakes and filet mignon, 2 that have been pretty standard, mashed potatoes and asparagus for as long as I can remember. But we've changed the sauces and we've changed the sets, and that's really helped our kitchen stay excited about what we're doing, right? There's nothing wrong with cooking a beef tenderloin, but to do something else with it in terms of sauce and garnish is great, and that's what we've been doing.
Is that one of those things that just pops into the kitchen? The servers don't come and ask for it. All of a sudden there's a crab louis sitting on a ticket and you're like, where's the heads up on this kind of thing?
Absolutely. You know, and of course we kind of, you know, make a big deal out of it, but it's really not a big deal. Really what happens is the new waiters, you have a member come by and they know the waiter's new. So then they start to grind them up, you know, and order all this stuff. And the waiter's like, sure, you know, yeah, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. We'll order it up. And that's really what happens most of the time. But we know it's coming. You know, we do a lot of omelets in the middle of dinner service. You know, we'll be in the middle of a regular Saturday night rush and have to make a tuna sandwich and an omelet and things like that. So we know it's coming, and of course we have to vent our frustration at the time, but it's all part of the game here to be able to keep up with those, you know, the people that laid the foundation for the membership. We got to take care of them.
Chef Daddezio, did you bring your chicken piccata to the Hunt Club, or is there something else there that?
It's my #1 family takeout dinner for sure. So,
okay.
And then like Jerry said, it's butter and cream. How can it be bad? So.
That's it? That's your dish that you're not going to take off?
Yeah, I think for me, there's one that's called the Grilled George, which I inherited. And you'll see a theme here with the Philadelphia chefs. It's another chicken salad dish. But it's basically buttered bread, chicken salad, and bacon, and grilled like a grilled cheese, named after one of the members. And then there's a grilled Fenton, which isn't on the menu, that's ordered, named after another menu. And they just test us to see if we still have that available every once in a while.
You put bacon on anything and you can sell it.
Bacon butter.
Chef Gitschner, what's on your menu that you might have to, you know, get fired for if you took it off?
Well, one of the things I inherited was crab cakes. I mean,
Yeah.
and actually anything crab just sells. I mean, but the crab cakes, what they have here at Philadelphia Country Club, I would say it's 95% crab meat. There's no bread filler in there, nothing. It's just celery, your egg white, a little bit of mayonnaise, and that's it, you know. So we're selling a lot of those.
But
Chicken piccata was the other one, and that's
Piccata.
one thing I cannot take off. And if I do, then I hear from the ladies. That's their to-go menu item.
Not going there. Chef Rios, I think we touched base with you on this in a previous Zoom, but was it crab in your club?
Yeah,
Crab
but it
cakes?
was the crab cakes. Yeah, crab cakes, which are almost all crab, and we have a Jackson salad, which has been on for a while. Which we took it off for a little bit, and then I got too many people pulling me off to the side, so we kind of put it back on. It wasn't worth the fight, and we have a crab soup too, which is something that we'll probably not be able to take off for anytime soon. So yeah, we all kind of have those, those things we know that we just go on from them and just create the menu around it.
We'll mess around. Hey, chefs, we're out of time. I want to thank you for spending 45 minutes or an hour here with us. I know Philadelphia is a tight group, and I'm glad you guys are staying in contact. I'm hoping that around the country, people see the value in talking to chefs in their neighborhood, the value of just being educated, the value in maybe needing some plates to run over. But I encourage all the club chefs to reach out and talk and expedite some conversation with some of their local chefs, and I know you guys do a great job with it. So Jerry, thanks for putting this together, and you guys have a good rest of the summer here with whatever's left of it. Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
Tom.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks.